Two government leaders get in a fist fight. President Trump calls on the Soros Open Society to be investigated. A tragic school shooting results in the death of two children, and the mainstream media spends the night mocking people for prayer or correcting guests' pronouns. Plus, RFK Jr. fires the head of the CDC for trying to do the bidding of Big Pharma and not the work of making medicine safe again. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. Let's jump right in. Yesterday, a horrific shooting unfolded at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis, Minnesota, during a church mass when a 22-year-old transgender suspect, born Robert Westman, but identifying as a female named Robert Westman, opened fire on children, teachers, and parents. Armed with a pistol, rifle, and shotgun, the attacker fired through the church window from outside, aiming directly at children. Sadly, 2 children have passed away, 14 others were injured, and 3 adults, with 17 total injured. The suspect then took his own life. Prior to the rampage, this gunman posted a manifesto on a now-deleted YouTube channel filled with vitriol, anti-Trump rhetoric, anti-Christian rhetoric, anti-trans rhetoric. Even though she was trans, he regretted transitioning and said that he had been brainwashed. One video displayed the manifesto alongside weapons with writing on the magazines, "Kill Donald Trump," BlackRock, other things. This person seemed to be anti-Israel, anti-Trump, anti-religion, anti-Islam. So it's not really clear what was going on, other than a lot of confusion and a lot of hate. The FBI, under Director Kash Patel, is investigating this massacre as domestic terrorism and as a hate crime towards Catholics. Now, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, she took to X and said this: "Today's evil church school shooter was a trans who was likely groomed and transitioned as a teenager. Congress must pass my bill Protecting Children's Innocence Act to make it a felony to perform sex change surgeries and all forms of medication on minors." According to court documents, at 17 years old, Robert Westman formally had his name changed to Robin because docs stated the minor child identified as female and wants her name to reflect the identification. The application for a name change of a minor was filed by the mother, and a court granted the request in 2020. Gender dysphoria is a mental illness, and children are being targeted by multi-billion-dollar medical and pharmaceutical industry. If they are willing to destroy themselves and how God made them, then they are willing to destroy others, and we saw that happen today. It's a very, very tragic situation. I didn't come on initially and report on it because I was just so horrified by the whole situation. Now, sadly, the mainstream media spent more time defending trans rights, proper pronouns, than the fact that children, innocent children, had their lives taken. They openly mocked people of faith, saying, "F your faith, F your prayers." It's just horribly, horribly sad. And Vice President J.D. Vance decided to open up about this. Let me go ahead and play this for you now, because this is really tragic. These people were killed practicing their faith, and then the mainstream media spent the night mocking these people for having faith. Let's go ahead and watch this together.
This is just an unbelievable tragedy. And we have to remember that there are a couple of families who yesterday had the worst day of their lives, and it's not going to get much better from here because of what this evil person took from these families, which is these two beautiful kids. That's my first response to it. My second response to it is I'm praying every single day, multiple times a day, that while two deaths is tragic, 3 deaths is even more tragic, and I hope it stays at 2, because there still are some kids who seem to be in pretty serious condition at the hospital, so we're praying for their swift recovery. And I think on the broader stuff, I mean, look, clearly this person was a mentally deranged human being. Clearly it was a transgender individual. We're going to learn a lot more, and I think the FBI and local authorities, I got to try to get to the bottom of this, but you don't go and shoot up innocent children unless you are a clearly screwed up person. We're so soon after this tragedy that I think that it would be nice if we as a country could unite, say a prayer for these innocent victims, say a prayer for the kids who are still recovering, that they make before recovery, focus on the investigation and getting to the bottom of this thing, and not immediately make it about politics. And my final point on this is when I see far left politicians say, how dare you offer thoughts and prayers? You need action. I don't care about your prayers. I care about what you're going to do to prevent this from happening. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you pray for the speedy recovery of these kids who literally just got shot yesterday, while at the same time committing to making sure this doesn't happen again, or that it happens as infrequently as possible? I don't think there's anything inconsistent about saying a prayer to God for these innocent, beautiful kids, while also thinking constructively about how we're going to prevent this from happening the next time. You can do both of those things. You can hold a thought, both of those thoughts in your head at the same time. And Will, if you are a politician or you're a media commentator and 2 beautiful babies just got murdered while praying, and your politics force you to condemn prayer in response to it, you ought to get new politics, because something very wrong has gone on inside your soul.
All right. I agree. I think that you can come together as a community and pray and seek solace and comfort in your beliefs and in the people around you. I think you can also say, hey, what do we got to do to ensure that people with mental illness aren't getting their hands on guns? I mean, you can't take away guns from people that are mentally competent, trained, want to defend themselves, have rights. At the same time, you can't let crazy people get access to firearms. Now, RFK has mentioned that there will be a large investigation into whether SSRIs for depression are playing any kind of role in these school shootings. That would be the first time that has ever happened, and I hope to get to the bottom of that. Now, again, CNN, more than anyone else, seemed more concerned with people's pronouns being pronounced correctly than these children, mocking mourning families' faith. But Scott Jennings, a real hero over on CNN, he said, hold on, stop the tape. We can't behave like this. Let's go ahead and listen to this.
And people who are I shouldn't say adjudicated, but people who have known mental illness are still able to very easily, it looks like, according to the police chief in Minneapolis recently, could just go in and get 3 guns and then use those guns to murder children in a school.
Yeah, I actually had a negative reaction to the mayor's statements today. I think it's wrong, frankly, to vilify or attack people of faith. You said thoughts and prayers ring hollow. I think thoughts and prayers are the most solid on days of tragedy for people who live their faith every day. And I think on a day like today, particularly in a church community, there are probably people praying harder for comfort today than they have ever prayed in their life. And so I think, and I've heard others on the left today go down this line of attack against people of faith, sort of denigrating the idea that they might want to pray today. And so I think his statements were misguided. The thing that struck me today, Abby, truthfully, when I was watching this unfold, was that the 2 little ones that died were 8 and 10. I have 7 and 9. Those are my 2 youngest. They turn 8 and 10 in a few days. And we could probably sit here and argue out all the issues of faith and transgenderism and all the other things that have been raised today. But it strikes me that none of us ever want to know the terror and the absolute empty hole that will never be filled that those parents of the 8 and 10-year-old are going to feel. And I just thought maybe tonight, the most useful thing any of us could do would take 10 seconds and just sit quietly and be still and be quiet and think about those families, because they are never going to be the same.
No, they won't. We had a nephew that was killed by his babysitter, and she was let go. We've had family that have unalived themselves. I just had a cousin that took his own life a couple of weeks ago. His brother took his life a couple of years before that. So it's tragedy. Humans, we have a really hard time dealing with tragedy and hard things, and just really, really difficult things. So let me go ahead and talk about what President Trump is trying to do here. Just trying to switch gears from evil to evil. So President Trump has called out the Open Society that is run by George Soros. He says George Soros and his wonderful radical left son should be charged with RICO because of their support of violent protests and much more, all throughout the United States of America. We're not going to allow these lunatics to rip apart America anymore, never giving it so much as a chance to breathe and be free. Soros and his group of psychopaths have caused great damage to our country. That includes this crazy West Coast friend. Be careful. We're watching you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So I think President Trump is hoping that somebody will start looking into the Soros situation. Many already have. So now it's just going to take somebody having the courage to pull these people in. They were using taxpayer money to rig elections, to buy off elections, to flood America with people from third world countries, from countries that have very different values than the United States of America. Now, according to The Hill, they reached out to the Soros Open Foundation, and legal experts said, what is Trump going to do? We've not broken any laws. We're not organized crime. What is he going to do? So I guess we'll just have to see exactly what they are going to do. All right. Now, speaking of organized crime, many of you know that one of our great sponsors is Tax Network USA. So let me take just a second. If you're stressed about back taxes, maybe you missed the April deadline, or your books are a mess, do not wait. The IRS is cracking down. Penalties add up fast, but there's help. Tax Network USA can take the burden off your shoulders and stop the spiral before it gets worse. They've helped thousands of Americans, whether you're an employee, a small business owner, or haven't filed in years. Got messy books? This isn't a problem for Tax Network USA. They've been down this road before. They've helped their clients save over $1 billion working on your behalf with the IRS. They've got all the connections. They can help you. Call 800-958-1000 or go to tnusa.com/Gardner. They are great to work with. You will not regret it. All right. President Trump has been cracking down on people taking advantage of the government, whether it's Medicare and Medicaid, cheating Social Security, lying and taking advantage of the food stamps program. Well, now they are cracking down, and they're cracking down big time. And a lot of people are not liking this. And I'll show you one. And then you guys let me know, because this kind of rubbed me wrong. But let's go ahead and watch this together, and then you can tell me what you guys think.
I had to cancel my vacation with my family because where we were going to go and vacation at, they have already stopped certain things of being able to be purchased with EBT. Well, because of this, that would mean I would have to buy the majority of my family's food out of pocket. And that would dig into my money I have for fun things. So I had no other choice but to cancel the trip. My family is so sad about this, and so am I. I don't understand why people want to control what other people buy with their EBT. Like, how is it your business what I buy with my EBT?
Well, it's our business because it's paid for by taxpayers. So this video went viral. This woman got a lot of backlash. Like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. You are going on a vacation. You are sad that you're going to have to spend your own money on food, that you don't want to dip into your fun money for a vacation. You just wanted to be able to vacation by using government money. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I work 7 days a week. I work about 80 hours a week. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I think that these programs are meant to be a hand up, not a handout. And I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right. Now, most people that watch this channel are pro-President Trump. I know I am. But many of us wish GOP leaders were tougher like Trump and actually took action. Arrests, single policy bills, actually getting stuff done for the American people. Well, down in Mexico, they take this stuff pretty serious. And 2 members of Mexican Congress got into a fight over whether the Mexican military should be used to fight the cartel and make Mexico safe again. Let's go ahead and watch this. Oh, man. Oh, gosh, there's the camera guy. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Grabbing him by the neck. Oh. This is turning into Jerry Springer. All right. So throwing punches, shoving, knocking to the ground. These guys are serious about making Mexico safe again, and they're taking action, maybe a little too much action. My Spanish is not perfect, but I heard the word madre a lot. So maybe, some comments about somebody's mother, or you're a mother blank, or I don't know. But do you ever wish, I don't want anybody in our Congress to actually get into a physical fight, but I do wish that members of Congress would actually fight for us more. Sometimes, and let me know if you agree or disagree, but sometimes I feel like the only person in Washington, D.C. fighting for us is Donald J. Trump and a few members of Congress. That's it. Like, I don't mean to be jaded or disheartened, but this is just my feeling sometimes. Now, I do believe that RFK Jr. is fighting on our behalf. He is trying to clean up the captured FDA, the captured CDC, the captured HHS. Unfortunately, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the highest paid member of government, was selling us down the river every chance he got, taking in extra money, allowing Big Pharma to control the government, allowing Big Pharma to put drugs onto the market that were hurting Americans, hurting children. They abused emergency authorization. Now RFK has removed that with COVID. And he's trying to clean up vaccines. It turns out we've been lied to. Most of these vaccines, because they have 100% immunity protection, have not gone through rigorous testing. None of them have been tested against each other. They've lied to us about the ingredients in vaccines. And almost everybody you talk to in America will tell you, I personally know somebody that died from the COVID vaccine or was injured by the COVID vaccine. And I'm talking everybody knows someone that got the shot and then got sick again. These losers at Big Pharma have been lying to us. And RFK is saying, I'm not doing this anymore. So he has fired the head of the CDC, Susan Menares. He said, listen, if you are not going to participate in avoiding corporate capture, pushing back on Big Pharma, then you're out. We cannot be bought and paid for by the vaccine lobbyists. We have to do real science. So she was fired. And now you've got 3 other top CDC officials that have walked, saying, I'm not doing this. If we're not going to force people to get vaccines, then I don't want to be a part of modern day medicine. So he said, okay, goodbye. And they've already replaced her. So the wheels of life continue to turn. Big Pharma continues to use its massive lobby, the biggest lobby in America, to bully and harass and buy off members of Congress. Every single member of Congress that defends vaccines and Big Pharma is bought off by Big Pharma. Some of the worst are Bernie Sanders, Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. So it's really sad. Like, why can't we just have honest politicians? Now, I'll bet many of these that were fired or walked away, they'll get high-paying jobs with Big Pharma very quickly. If everyone isn't drinking the Big Pharma Kool-Aid or responding to the shame campaigns that Big Pharma pays to have released on CNN, ABC, MSNBC, and even Fox News, then they shame you. They try to humiliate you. They literally spend billions of dollars shaping Congress, writing the bills for Congress. It's pathetic. So she's been fired. We'll see what ends up coming of it. All right. Lastly, remember Vivek Ramaswamy? I was able to interview him 4 times while running for president. I think he's a great guy. He is now running for the governor of Ohio. And somebody asked him, how can we ever really be free in America or own our homes if we're slaves to the government? I thought he had a great answer. So let me pull that up and let's watch what Vivek had to say.
So here's the problem. You got many people in our state who are paying more in their property taxes than they are even on the principal and interest payments on their mortgages. And that makes it feel a lot like the land that you own is really just a lease from the government. That's un-American. It's antithetical to our values, and it makes home ownership that much less accessible to young people. And even many older Ohioans see their property tax increased by a bureaucrat who says your land is worth more. They're not liquid. They got to move out of their house when they're living on a fixed income. So we're going to put a ceiling on property taxes one way or another in the state and then bring them down and combine that with eliminating capital gains taxation and eventually bringing the income tax rate down to 0 as well. And can we do that on the math of the state? Absolutely, you're right, we can. But it requires making real intelligent choices about other revenue sources we bring into our state instead. I think Ohio should be a summer tourism state. Frankly, for a better marketed state, we ought to bring a lot of summer tourism into our state. Florida's mastered this. The best taxes that a state can collect are those that are paid by the people who don't actually live there. Seriously, you think about Delaware. Delaware used to be the capital of incorporation. They're faltering. Ohio should be eating Delaware's lunch by creating the incorporation capital of the country, by creating the most founder protective, director and officer protective statutes in the country. That's an added revenue source as well. There's also duplicative waste. A lot of where our money is going is not actually advancing the lives of Ohioans. Put that money back in people's pockets. And so do we have a plan to bring down property taxes? Absolutely. And I do think that this is something where it shouldn't be a left versus right issue. You should be able to own your land. If you buy your land, you own it. The government shouldn't be able to seize it for just serially increasing your taxes to unjustly high levels. All it requires is being smart with additional revenue sources that we're not collecting and being rational about, let's just say, the number of universities we have. I love our state-funded universities, but frankly, we have more state-funded universities than 49 other states, than 48 other states, at least in the United States of America, when we have fewer 35-year-old or even fewer 18-year-olds than most of those states. Common sense, consolidate them, create centers of excellence. So this isn't about just cost cutting in a way that people are going to feel pain. It's actually about increasing the effectiveness of our government, and the cost savings will be an automatic byproduct of it. That's how we're going to bring down the tax rates.
Wow. Spoken like a true businessman who understands you've got to trade value for those taxes. And the government has just been stealing our money and then wasting it. Foreign wars, stupid payments, not checking in like a business would on the waste. I mean, every state, every city should be doged. And I hope that they will. But let me know in the comments. I know a lot of you are homeowners. How much would it change your life if you didn't have property tax? For me, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So there's a lot of seniors that unfortunately they get kicked out of their house because they can't afford those property taxes. Some of them end up losing the equity that they've built. It's really sad. So this is a big push right now in Ohio. This is a big push right now in Texas and also over in Florida. We've got to get rid of the government waste. In fact, down in Florida, they found that they overcharged citizens in one county by tens of millions of dollars. Instead of returning that money to the taxpayer, they put it in a bank account for a rainy day. It's so stupid. Stop stealing our money. They've got to go through and get rid of all of the wasteful taxes. And I'll tell you what, the Democrats, they're always saying we have to raise taxes. What a stupid thing to say when you're running for office. You should be trying to lower our taxes and give us a better government. We deserve a better government. So they've got to stop stupid spending and be smart about the way that they bring money in. Look at the tariffs. Trump is set to bring in between $700 billion to $1 trillion in tariffs. I just hope and pray that Congress won't do what Congress does best, which is waste that money. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for letting me be a source of truth and news for you guys. If you could, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.